Now, window schedules are typically included on any set of prints. And that schedule is basically a detailed list on a print that provides information about building components such as windows, doors, and mechanical equipment. A window schedule describes each window by type, size, and special features, such as insulated or tinted glass and factory number. A letter or number code on the elevation or even the floor plan and on the schedule identifies each particular window. Often, window schedules are combined with door information as a door and window schedule. Here we see just a window schedule with the codes E, F, G, and H designating the particular type of window in its specs. So with all of our door classifications, they're going to include swinging, accordion, pocket, sliding, and our bifold doors. And those symbols for swinging doors on plan views is basically a single line with an arc to show the direction of that swing. And other symbols are used for other door classifications. The door hand is going to be the direction in which a door swings. So when determining door hand, the viewer always stands on the outside of the door, and the outside may be a hallway or the street side of an entrance door. So for doors that open between rooms, the keyed side of the lock is considered the outside. Two general types of door or door designs are going to be your panel and your flush doors. A panel door is going to be a door with individual panels between the stiles and the rails. A flush door panel is going to be a door with flat surfaces on each side. The stiles and the rails are then concealed within the door itself. Panel and flush. Amongst the flush, we have a solid core and a hollow core. Now, some doors are also designated as fire doors. And our fire door is a fire-resistant door and assembly, including the frame and the hardware, commonly equipped with an automatic door closer. The 5 classifications of door openings for fire door installation are class A, B, C, D, and E. The classifications are based on the time the door opening withstands penetration by fire. So we see this class A has 3 hours, B has 1.5, C has 3/4 of an hour, the D and the 1.5 hours included in E has 3/4 of an hour of a door. Hollow metal doors are going to be constructed using steel stiffeners, and the core or using an impregnated craft paper, foam, or mineral blocking as the core itself. Now, when steel stiffeners are used in the core, steel channels or Z-shaped sections are installed vertically in the core, and foam or fiber insulation is placed between those stiffeners. Steel face sheets are spot welded to the stiffeners to enclose the stiffeners in the insulation. And when using an impregnated material core, that steel face sheets are laminated to the material using a structural adhesive. Minimum metal thicknesses are specified for metal door faces depending on the door application. So for example, 16 gauge or 18 gauge metal doors faces are required for commercial applications, while a 12 gauge or a 14 gauge metal door faces are required for institutional applications. Now, our metal doors are typically finished with a primer at the factory, and then the doors may also be finished with a baked enamel finish and an applied finish such as cladding, which is vinyl, a textured embossed finish such as stainless steel, or even a polished metal finish. These are your cores of your metal doors, which are constructed of steel stiffeners and impregnated materials. Now, per IBC or International Building Code, that applies to commercial construction. The minimum width of doors should provide a clear width no less than 32 inches and must be sufficient for the occupancy load for that building. So the clear width of the door is measured between the door face and the stop between or with the door opening at 90 degrees. Now, when double doors without a mullion are installed, one of the doors must provide a clear width no less than 32 inches. The maximum width of a swinging door is 48 inches, and additional building exits other than the elevators are required where occupancy loads exceed a minimum number of people. So special doors such as your revolving doors, sliding doors, and even overhead doors may not be used as permitted exits. Exit passageways must be at least 44 inches in width, except when serving an occupancy load of less than 50 people. And for occupancy loads with less than 50 people, exit passageways should not be less than 36 inches wide. Now, your landings must provide at all doors and should not be less than the width of that door. And doors in fully open positions should not reduce the required landing dimensions by more than 7 inches. And landings must be at least 44 inches long, measured in the direction of the travel. Now, stairways, those are going to be typically represented on plan views using a series of parallel lines indicating the risers. And notations such as a 14 R up or R down means 14 risers up, and 13 R down means 13 risers down. So these indicate the number of risers to the floor immediately above or below. And an arrow with the notation points up or down depending on the direction of travel, as it says, this is the way in which you travel. So you can go to this door and you travel 13 risers down to the basement. And if I'm in the basement, I'm going to travel 13 risers back up to the first floor. While I'm on the first floor, if I want to go to the second floor, it's going to be 13 risers going up to the second floor. And if I'm on the second floor going back down to the first floor, it's going to be 14 risers down. Now, in multi-story buildings, stairs may be straight run, a straight one with a landing. It can also be L-shaped with a landing, a U-shape with a landing. It can be an L-shape with winders. It can be a U-shaped with winders. It can be circular or even spiral. So the types are many. Now, other shapes may be developed through the combinations of the basic shapes. Now, architects, they must design risers and treads to fit within an acceptable dimension and with code requirements. The preferred angle for a stairway is going to be between 30 and 35 degrees. Less of an angle produces those large runs, and steeper angles do not facilitate easy climbing. So we want to pay attention to the slope of the stairs. Now, per IBC, or International Building Code, the maximum riser height is to be 7 inches, and the minimum riser height is to be 4 inches. This is to be measured vertically between leading edges of an adjacent tread, and the minimum tread depth is to be 11 inches, measured horizontally between the foremost projection of that adjacent tread. Now, the difference in the riser heights and tread depths in the stairway should not exceed about 3/16 of an inch, and the minimum headroom for all portions of a stairway is to be 80 inches, measured vertically from an inclined plane formed by adjacent tread nosings. Now, a landing or a floor must provide at the top and the bottom of that stairway, and the landing width should not be less than the stairway width. So if you have a stairway width of 40, the landing should be 40. So landings must have a minimum dimension measured in the direction of travel equal to the stairway width and should not exceed 48 inches where the stairway has a straight run. And then the stairway should not have a vertical rise that's greater than 12 feet between each floor or landing. And lastly, your residential stairways should be a minimum of 3 feet wide, and handrails must not project more than about 4.5 inches on either side of the stairway. Minimum clear stairway width should not be less than 31.5 inches when a handrail is installed on one side, or 27 inches when the handrail are installed on both sides of the stairway. And our handrails must be provided on at least one side of that stairway at a minimum of 34 inches high and a maximum of 38 inches above the tread of those nosings. A clear space not less than 1.5 inch must be provided between the adjacent wall and the handrail, as we see here. And those ends of those handrails must return or be terminated at newel posts or safety terminals. The cross-sectional area of the handrail must be 1.25 inch minimum or 2 inch maximum. Take a second to study that.